So when I decided to use recycled roofing metal for my workshop, I didn't realize how big of a problem the adhesive they put on it would be. I tried numerous methods to remove it, but I finally found that just using a small putty knife seems to be the best way to go. This morning I sharpened the putty knife just enough to lower the width of the tip, but not to actually make it sharp, because I don't want to like, what's the term, gouge into the metal. And it seems to be working really well. It was a lot harder to remove in cold weather, so it seems that heat, warmer weather, is helping a lot also. So we're on the roof, and that's what I got going. A pair of sunglasses will be probably good to have up here. This stuff is some pretty nasty stuff. Now I recommend having 2 putty knives. You have one to clean off the other. I'm not sure if this type of sealant is very common, but actually let's try this. It might be warm enough to use this now. Yeah, it is nice. Well then, I might go, then I think about sharpening this then. The main reason we're going sideways is because all of this metal is bent, I guess you could say axially. Let me just pull it off. So if I go like this, I don't get a perfectly clean cut because it's not the same height. Now it's obvious here because this is curved, but when I get to here, it's also curved. I guess because whenever they ripped up the metal, or maybe when they made it, I don't know, it just didn't seem to, that's not perfectly flat, but it is pretty flat, at least when it goes this way. So you can clean that up. The reason why it's so important to clean off the bottom of your the knife or putty scraper thing is because with this particular stuff, if you go in and there's a little clump, it will actually pull it underneath the blade. So you have to have a pretty good connection, otherwise it just pulls most of the stuff underneath it. It's a very, very strange sealant. If you're lucky, you can make it into one long thing and it automatically cleans off the blade, so you can continue on. Speeds it up quite a bit, but it doesn't work too well in cold weather. And now, when you get to holes, because that's the entire reason I'm doing this, is because I'm going to be painting this, but I want to seal the holes before I paint this. I find that you cannot go like around it like that, because it messes it up. But you can come in, hit the hole, then go over, and then go down and go around. So you're cutting around the hole, and then it leaves a little bit. You can pick that off. Like so. It's not a very fun process and it's not very videoable, but oh well. So I got this side up to here done. I'm not doing I'm not doing all of it because I'm only doing the parts that have the holes over it, like right here, which you can't quite see that, but oh well. There's a hole there. And whenever I went through and put these nice long screws in, it really did help stop a lot of the water coming in. However, now there's still a few small bits of water coming in, and just 1 or 2 drops. They're just sticking to the bottom of the roof. But I mean, that's better than what it was before, where I could actually fill a cup like a little bit from when a big storm was going over. But now there's just a lot of little patches, and I believe they're mostly caused by these from the previous holes, previous screws I mean. But my hands are sore and kind of cut up, and I'm not sure why I even filmed this, because I don't find it fun, and it's not new because I've spent about 6 days doing this all day, of just, well, not 6 days, probably about 4 days, of just doing it like on the walls, and I've gotten a lot of progress done. So it's just boring. I don't feel like working on the workshop all the time, when I probably should be, because if I try to work on anything else, my mind is all kind of scrambled, because I have this kind of just stuck in my mind, and I keep worrying about the workshop. So I'm still not in a very efficient state for doing projects. But whenever I get this workshop done, then I can finally offload like all the little things I'm remembering about the workshop and just focus on other projects. But when you have a big project I like weighing down your mind, it's hard to focus on anything else. Speaking of this project, I recently picked up a bunch of this ceiling board. Now this was in my friend's 1909 house. It was underneath the stage. And this is what I was stepping on. And then I realized, oh, this is on a second floor. That is the ceiling of the balcony. And so I got off of it. Well, evidently, the workers he hired were not as smart, and they were too fat, because they stepped on this and it popped it out and they all fell through the balcony. It's like, I thought they were supposed to know that kind of thing. Anyway, I now have like 60 12-footers of this stuff, so sucks to be him, but I can use this in the workshop. Sadly, there is a lot of crap on there. 100 years of just weather and deterioration. I believe acetone might do a good job of removing that, but I don't know. I might just see about like sanding this backside, but I can use that for the roof, or for the ceiling I mean, because I've decided I do not have enough insulation to do all the walls and the roof. It looks like each of the 2 big walls are going to take a bag of insulation, and I only got 2 bags. And I'm not going to go out of my way to get more, because I know I could. I know the company that I got it from, and I know they'd be very glad to dump another 10 or 20 bags off on my front porch if they wanted. That's a joke. Only one would fit on the front porch. They're really big. But I'm just kind of over this blown insulation, the cellulose insulation. It gets everywhere, and it's a pain in the ass. I've saved several $100s by using it, by recycling it. So I figure for the end caps of the building and the roof, I'll splurge a bit and I'll use some 2-inch foam insulation, like just the board. And I can always reuse that later on. Sorry, I got just some stuff in my throat. Speaking of the cost of the workshop, I've probably spent about $2,500 on it so far, so it's not that bad. If I'm not mistaken, that's like the price of a shipping container, so I definitely got more than a shipping container out of this, but it also took like 6 months or more to do, so that's not that good. Oh, one last thing. I think I've finally come to a conclusion, or at least coming to a conclusion, on the color scheme for the workshop. I think that teal, like maybe a greenish teal or like a darker teal, would be a really good color for the outside of the workshop. So I've been kind of leaning towards like a tealish color for the workshop, but I haven't quite narrowed down the exact shade that I want. And so I was thinking, Sailor Mercury has teal hair. Okay, that's a big debate, because pretty much, I guess they didn't know how to specify what color hair she has, and so in all the media, she's like has a different hairstyle going from green to blue to teal. Like, it's green. That's blue. That's greenish blue. Well, anyway, so I realized, you know what? Sailor Mercury's hair is so diverse and like uncalibrated throughout all the merchandise and shows and everything that I can use that to fine pick which color of teal I want, because it's almost like an entire spectrum. So I was going through my Sailor Moon trading cards from 1993 or whatever, and that's a good one. It's like a dusty teal. And then I also got out my laser discs. Ow, fuck. These are heavy. And I think that's more of a bluish. I don't really like that darkness. Oh, by the way, I recently picked up Nausicaa of the Valley of the Wind, just because I like Laserdisc. So even on the same Laserdisc cover, we have different colors. We have darkish blue, lighter blue, and then teal. And I think that's a pretty nice color. Oh, and yes, I have the Obi strips, because gotta have those. That's too blue. That's better, but it's too small and might not be good enough. That's too of a dusty color. That's too blue. Colors are important, and especially for this. I've spent so much time building this that I want to make sure the color is right. And I don't see this color very often. And I went through all like the color charts at like Walmart and RP Lumber and Ace, and they don't have that color, so I'll have them make up a color of this. I'll just take this. It'd be kind of funny to take a laser disc to whatever and be like, can you make a can of paint this color or whatever? Problem is, they'd be like, okay, because they wouldn't care. I know it wouldn't be that funny. Oh well. So that's what I'm up to. I'm at a loss for words. I think I don't have much else to say. Yeah, I should probably just take a nap because I'm just kind of like, bleh. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and thank you very much for watching. See ya. Oh, by the way, the roof will be gray. The walls will be teal. The roof will be gray.